Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. I've gotten a lot of questions about how I store the 9,000 CDs that I have. I live in New York City. If you've watched my introduction video, you know this. So New York City apartments are really small. So how is it that I store all of those? And it's not really, in my opinion, that inventive of a way or anything really that cool, but I thought I'd show you. But to make it a little bit more interesting, I thought I'd also group in the CDs that I bought during lockdown. And in New York City, we were under lockdown for 100 days, so a little over 3 months. So during that time frame, what is it that I got my teeth into and, checked out and researched and bought some, side projects by artists and all those kind of things like that. So I thought I'd go through that. But the first thing I'm going to do is show you how it is that I store them. So I use these office boxes, and you can see this is from Staples. And I cut them down. They're standard file size boxes, and I'll show you here. So, regular CD, about 5 3/4 inches kind of a thing. I measure it and I cut it down to about an 1/8 inch bigger than the CD itself, just to give a little bit of space in there, a little bit of movement. Top is the regular. And so we end up with this. And let me adjust the camera so that you can see what's going on here for the rest of this. I'll bring it back up when I start talking about these. But then, here's the top. Top comes off, and what it is it actually stores 30 CDs in rows. A total of 90 CDs are stored per these boxes here. They're kept really tight and nice so they don't get damaged, that sort of thing. So that's why I like this so much. Now, so that you can kind of also understand how it is that I have all these. If we turn the camera slightly, and a lot of people have noticed this in the past, I have all of these boxes here. There's 48 of them going on that wall out there, and I don't even know the number, but there's a whole slew of them on this wall behind me. That 48 boxes right there with 90 CDs, that's over 4,000 CDs that's sitting just right there. So that's how I store these things around my apartment. As I said, not very inventive or whatnot, but it works for me. One day I'd love to have a whole library where every single wall is nothing but CD racks and store it all. So instead of books, it's CDs. That would be my dream, maybe one day, right? So I also have this Mr. Big Box here that's from Japan. There's a separate review for that on my channel. I picked that up during lockdown. Got that for about $150, but it was a $300+ box set when it first came out, so that was quite a steal. A lot of things I found going on. So the group Heavy Pettin' put out an EP that came out just right at the beginning of lockdown. If you know the rock band Girl with Phil Collen, who's now in Def Leppard on guitar, and Phil Lewis of LA Guns, Phil Lewis of LA Guns, their first band was called Girl. Gary Laffey was their guitar player. He's done some other stuff. I picked that up during this time frame. Let's see, Carl Dixon, he did a solo record coming from Coney Hatch. Got into some old school metal with Manowar, Fighting the World, one of my favorites. Some of the new wave of British heavy metal, an old girl band called Rock Goddess that I really, really like. Highly recommend that first album. Also got into some 70s stuff with Mahogany Rush, Frank Marino, phenomenal guitar player. Sounds a lot like Hendrix and stuff. Doogie White did a tribute group, Demon's Eye, for Deep Purple. Doogie White comes from Rainbow. Of course, he has sung in a lot of other things, so I picked that up. Another Def Leppard related thing, River Dogs. This one's got Vivian Campbell. It was an early 90s group that he did. I think it was right before he joined, and then he did a couple other albums with him, and this is one of them there. Went way back in line to Triumph, Rick Emmett, phenomenal guitar playing, stuff like that. Another thing I found and really enjoyed was this group Phenomena. This one here, they always use different singers and things, and Glenn Hughes does a lot with them. Ray Gillen, who passed away unfortunately, but was in Badlands and even Black Sabbath for a period, he was in there. Michael Monroe, Hanoi Rocks, that's a best of that's there that's really good. Picked up, you remember them from the US, they were called London Choir Boys, but now they're just called the Choir Boys, still really huge out there. Steve Lukather, this first album here, which is fantastic. It's actually got a couple songs co-written and produced by Eddie Van Halen. Some really great guitar stuff there. Picked up a Marty Balin, his album simply called Balin, and the other one Lucky. This one, you know, him coming from Jefferson, well, I think he was in Airplane too, but Airplane and Jefferson Starship. Picked up a new Steeler compilation came out called Come Hell or Hollywood. It's got a whole bunch of early tracks and stuff like that. And then Tora Tora put out one. They've got one out that's an acoustic one, 5 songs from a live show that they did. Really, really good. Reviews for that Tora Tora is on here. Another cool one were these, the Britny Fox demos from their 3rd album. I also got reviews from that on there. So a lot of this stuff is on there, but I did want to show you guys this stuff. Then I went through this period where I picked up a bunch of old school stuff like Trouble, if you remember them. This one here, really, really good stuff. The Misery Shows, that was their big song off there. Gary Hoey, and a crazy instrumental guitar player. This one here, he did a cover of Hocus Pocus on here. Really, really fantastic. That was the big hit at the time. Another relation to Balin's Starship. This is both Jefferson Starship and Starship on here. And then we've got, you know, Neil Sean's solo release here. This one here is hard to come by, Late Night. A lot of these things I picked up from eBay, just kind of waiting on them to find good things. This one here was the only Journey album I didn't have. This one here was a soundtrack to a movie, Dream After Dream. It's more for collectors. I don't really recommend it for just the average Journey fan, but it is worth having and stuff. Picked up some of the newer Every Mother's Nightmare. Now, I had these when they came out in the first go round, but they were so do-it-yourself, you know, bottom of the line kind of thing. The artwork was just horrendous and no booklets, just not good stuff. New label has taken, you know, partnered with them, re-released these. These are really, really fantastic stuff. And then I went through and I got, you know, a whole bunch of the Rock Candy reissue things. A Sheriff, who later, of course, turned into Alias. This group here called Only Child. This one here, you know, another really great Lost Hair Band. Lita Ford's big breakthrough album with Close My Eyes Forever with Ozzy. Really good stuff there. Spies. This one here I really like. This one was 2 of the members, including the keyboardist, I think his name's Ed Gagliari, might not be saying that right, from Foreigner. When they left Foreigner, they formed that group. Another one from Spies. So there's some great stuff out there. And 2 Legs Diamond releases. So just went through, got a lot of interesting stuff. I also picked up some stuff kind of outside of the metal world. Tom Cochrane, Life is a Highway, you know, big single that he had back in, this was like 1990 or 91, somewhere right around that time frame. Dan Baird, you know, frontman for Georgia Satellites, just really good straight ahead rock and roll, stuff like that. And then, you know, I got a whole bunch of other things that were like, you know, Bonfire, that sort of a European kind of rock. All 41. These all have like famous, you know, members, one-off guys in them who are doing things now. Burning Kingdom. This one's got Danny Vaughan from Tyketto. Just some really good stuff like that. This one here, what's the Radiation Romeos? It has the lead singer who was from Steve Stevens' Atomic Playboys. So really great stuff in all of these releases. I did some stuff with, or kind of got on this phase with Doogie White. I mentioned Demon's Eye earlier, but he had a band before joining Rainbow. It's called Midnight Blue. A little different, a little more pop type stuff, but he was doing that. He's got a group called La Paz, their latest album there. But what I really like from him is his band Cornerstone. They sound the closest to Rainbow, and they had 4 albums out. I had a couple of these, but I did not have this one, and I did not have this one. So I tracked them down via eBay. Now, another thing that I picked up that ended up being really, really good stuff that I just wasn't expecting. I picked up this, Misha Calvin, and he's a really, really amazing guitar player. But I picked this up with the notion because one of the singers that he has guesting on here is Tony Martin, who sings in Black Sabbath. I love everything Tony Martin does. I think he's fantastic. Really do a lot more credit than he gets, especially for his time in Black Sabbath. I wish that era would actually get some recognition. but he sings like 5 or 6 tracks, I think, on that record. So I picked it up for that, but turned out the whole record was just phenomenal. Really, really great stuff. Found a Bad English bootleg with sound recordings from, I think it's between the first album and the second album kind of thing. So most of what I saw in there was unreleased stuff that wasn't released in some other format. So just kind of really cool stuff within here. Sort of a little bit of all over the map. That's where I was. But you can see some links in there how I went from, 80s stuff to metal stuff to then classic rock stuff and so forth, because various members crossed over within that. And that's generally how my mind works and how I kind of decide how to pick things and how to do different musical selections and whatnot. But that's how I store my 9,000 CDs. So you can see 800 of them are here behind me on the wall. But there you go. That's how it is. One day I'll take you on a tour around the apartment, but not very interesting other than seeing those 48 boxes stacked right there. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, let me know. Leave your comments. Hope everyone has a great day, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. Bye-bye.